Why haven't you started yet? Overthinking is holding you back. But this stops right now. One of the main reasons why we're not using our skills to create new things and bring our ideas to life is overthinking. If you have ever spent more time planning your next creative project than actually doing it, then this video is for you. This is a very common problem in the world of creativity. We tend to overthink so much for our next creative project that it prevents us to actually do the work which is required. The reason it happens is because we have this perfect vision or picture in our head of our next creation. Maybe it's a piece of art that we're working on, the next product we're building or inventing, or even a new cooking recipe, a new dinner recipe that we're trying to impress our family and friends. Whatever it may be, we have this perfect vision in our head and we try to bring that vision and perfectionism into life, into the product that we're building or into the thing that we're creating. By getting stuck in this trap of perfectionism and trying to create this perfect thing, we often end up making a lot of decisions. Decisions about what's the right thing to do, what's the next step to take, and what is the right strategy to bring this product or bring this creation to life. And this is the reason why, due to overthinking, we face something which is known as decision fatigue. Research in educational psychology has shown that when individuals are overloaded with cognitive tasks, such as overthinking on a problem, their ability to think creatively is highly affected because they get more focused on managing the information load rather than coming up with new ideas. Being a victim of decision fatigue and overthinking has a lot of disadvantages. We don't use our time productively and we basically end up wasting our time because we are not taking any action and we are just spending most of our time in decisions and choices and deciding what's the right thing to do. It could lead to stress and anxiety because a lot of these choices and decisions coming at us can overwhelm us. And finally, the one that is the most dangerous, it doesn't allow us to grow ourselves. It stops our growth because we're not making any progress towards the thing that we're building and we're not taking any action. And if you're not taking any action, we are not progressing and we are not learning any new things. When we talk about being creative, we need to let go of this perfectionist mindset and embrace the growth mindset. This is where we start appreciating the importance of iterations, small steps, and progress that we make every day. Every creative process thrives on iterations. It's not about going after the right thing or the perfect thing. It's all about making progress every single day. Even if it's imperfect, even if it's wrong, that doesn't matter. You can always improve on it as you progress, as you go on. The main thing is to start creating and start taking action. Instead of thinking about if your decision or your choice is going to lead to that perfect thing, you might as well try it and see the result for yourself rather than thinking what the outcome would be. Embracing this growth mindset helps us to reduce overthinking, appreciate the imperfections, and encourage us to take more action. One of the reasons why we overthink a lot is due to this fear of failure or fear of judgment by others. Whenever we're trying to create something new, these kind of questions often creep into our head. Like, what would others think about it? And if I fail, what would people think about me? Maybe they'll pass comments on me and they'll start judging me. And I don't want to be judged as a failure, or I don't want to be seen as a failure. So I might as well not do anything at all and just quit altogether. Due to this fear of failure and judgment, we end up overthinking a lot of these negative outcomes, which might not even be true, but that prevents us to stop altogether and not do anything. There have been research studies done which shows that when in fear, our brain activates this flight or fight response. And our mind goes into this high alert mode and focus on survival. Now, if you're afraid of someone's judgment on us, then this fear activation can prevent us from taking action. Our mental resources will get shifted away from functions like creative thinking. And creativity requires a much relaxed state of mind, but with this fear response, our creativity can be greatly affected. The best thing to do here is to start reframing our mind to accept failure as feedback. Any creative project survives on iterations, and iterations can be improved with feedback. The more feedback we get, the more we can learn about what's working and what's not working, and this way we can limit our choices and go after what's working and improve on that. The more we start accepting failure as feedback, the more we can understand what's the next step to take towards making improvements. This is something known as action bias, which simply means that you can start taking action without even worrying about what the result or outcome is going to be. According to a research on task management, doing simpler tasks and completing them can lead to a sense of progress. This feeling of accomplishment, regardless of how small the task is, can reduce the mental burden of overthinking. Taking these small steps and making progress step by step can actually lead to higher motivation and helps us move our focus from overthinking than actually doing the task. Now, there are a lot of tools available to us that we can use to fight overthinking. These are all productivity tools that we can use to be more creative. The first one that you might be familiar with is Pomodoro technique. This is where you set a timer to work on your project or whatever you're trying to create or build for a certain set amount of time without any distractions. Let's say you set a timer for 25 minutes, you work on it without any disturbance or any distraction, and once that's done, you maybe take a break for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And then after you refresh your mind during that break period, you start again. Maintaining this discipline helps us to keep taking action, helps us to keep making improvements and making progress towards our creative project. The second technique is called brain dumping or mind mapping. When we're overloaded with information, all that pieces of information is getting stored in our head, and that causes us to be stressful and anxious because we're overthinking about all the different pieces that are coming our way. A great technique here is to do a brain dump. Take a piece of paper and write everything down that's going around in your head. It doesn't matter if it's not related to the project that you're working on or the thing that you're building, just write it down, just for the sake of getting it out of your head. Once you start using a paper and a pen or even any digital medium to get all the information out of your head onto paper, trust me, you'll feel at ease. This technique helps us to capture all our thoughts and different ideas onto paper, and it helps us to visualize it because it's right in front of us. It helps us to reduce the cognitive load and move our focus and energy towards our creativity. The next technique is setting deadlines. Often when working on anything creative, we like to be free, not set to any constraints or any deadlines, and just be flexible. But setting deadlines and timelines can actually help you be more creative because now you have a constraint and a problem where you need to come up with great ideas during that limited amount of time. So when you're working on something, when you're working on creating or building something, try to give yourself a deadline. Try to give yourself a goal to go after. If you don't, you'll just end up not working at it at all. But if you know that you need to complete it in the next few days, you'll spend more time in taking action and making progress towards it. Speaking of setting timelines and schedules, if you want to build this a daily habit of not overthinking and taking action, try developing a creative routine. Being consistent is more important than being perfect. You should create something every single day. Even if it's something really small or making little progress, try to spend a few minutes daily on doing something creative. The amazing book Atomic Habits by James Clear talks about this habit activation concept where small actions can compound over time. Working on something great can always take time. It's not about getting it right or perfect the very first time you try it. It's all about making improvements, making progress, and embracing the iterations. The more times you try it, the more things you'll discover, the new things you'll learn, and you can implement those into your next iteration and bringing it step by step to the perfect creation that you want it to be. I will be creating one of my future videos to talk about how you can manage your daily routine to do more creative work, so stay tuned for that. Everyone battles with overthinking, but action is what separates dreamers from creators. Take that small step today. What is something that you can start creating now that you have been overthinking for a long time? Let me know in the comments below on what you're going to create next. So today we looked at and explored one of the main hurdles in your creative journey, which is overthinking. It traps us in this cycle of perfectionism and decision fatigue, which prevents us from taking action and making progress towards our creation. We looked at how by changing our mindset to embracing growth and understanding the power of action and iteration can motivate us and can help us reduce our stress and reduce that mental burden of overthinking. We also identified that one of the main reasons why we don't take action is because of the fear of failure and fear of judgment. But just by accepting those failures as feedback and taking that from a positive lens can help us be more creative and make progress towards the thing that we are creating. We also looked at some tools that can help us reduce overthinking, such as some productivity tools like Pomodoro technique, or using tools like mind mapping or brain dumping, and also giving ourselves timelines to achieve, to go after. And most importantly, it's very helpful when you have a creative routine developed for yourselves. You can follow that every single day, and no matter whatever you're working on, no matter whatever task that you're doing, it's important to do something every single day. Try engaging yourself in the thing that you're creating and getting yourself busy in taking action. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about starting. Your best work is yet to come. But for that, you just need to get started. If you found this video helpful and if you learned something, please consider subscribing. Also, check out my Creative Insights newsletter where I share a monthly email on tips, strategies, insights, and learnings on how to be more creative. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for my next video.